Episode 53 of the Specktators podcast. I'm your host, Packy. I'm alongside Q the Bars.
Hey, it was Ann.
Dirt Dagler.
What's good?
Moe-T in the house. How we looking over there, Moe-T? Never done this before.
Oh, we're looking real swaggering.
What are we on camera?
Is anybody tuned in?
We got 45 people in
No
this.
way.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we'd have like 5 right now.
Hey, you got half of it, right?
Damn, that's lit. All right.
Can I watch it on my phone?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just keep up with
Just
the bullshit.
turn the volume down so that we don't get any feedback here.
All right. So for those that are listening on Tuesday morning, per your regularly scheduled programming, the reason we are saying all this shit is we're live right now. Monday night.
Hey, we out here.
Shout out to the new subscribers. I know we got some new subscribers out there. So for this live podcast, we will be doing this maybe every time, maybe just a few times. We'll see how it goes. But either way, you'll always be able to get the podcast on all your platforms going forward. It's not like it's just going to be live and then it's gone. So we'll do it live. There's a chat going on the side that what is it? Super chat?
Super chat.
Super chat.
Super chat that hoe. We will try to get to, if you say something, relevant to the conversation that Moe-T thinks is interesting or whatever, he'll pipe in. I don't know if
He'll use it as his own and he won't give you anything.
He'll be like, so I was just thinking of something. So if you hit the super chat, we might be able to vibe off you in the conversation, whatever. Not going to make any guarantees. Like if somebody just super chats and says, talk about the difference between raccoons and aardvarks, then
Damn.
we're probably not going to talk
Literally
about that.
everything.
We should read it
We might.
and then not talk about it.
But yeah,
we should read it.
super chat it up and we'll see how this goes. We'll be a little more interactive with the pod. But again, we still want to do the pod.
Yep.
Make every week and not just disrupt the whole thing with a bunch of Q&A interactive shit. We'll save that for some Instagram streams and stuff and whatnot. But
Yeah.
anyway, how was your guys' weekend?
I was dope. Chill.
It's cousin camp.
I saw that on the gram.
Yeah, that's where my mom, grandma, they call her Mimi,
The goat.
has all the nieces and nephews over of the kids, and they all, play games and
Kid
sled
out.
and just do
I saw you guys
Kid
played a
shit.
little ice hockey.
broom ball.
Broom ball, all right.
Yeah.
This shit sounds like beer Olympics without the beer. Or like
Broom
for
ball is
kids.
a great game. It's just like really fun all around. You play on, like we had to shovel the ice, but the ice was pretty rough on the lake. So we just got the snow off just so the ball would roll and stuff, but it gets pretty intense. I was thinking like that'd be a really fun like yearly tournament to have with all the homies.
Did you get bruised up?
Oh yeah, my knees are fucked.
You were playing goalie?
Yeah. Well, the ball's just soft, but I was diving around, making
Yeah.
plays,
Nice.
doing my thing.
Anything, you thug thizzle.
Yeah, no kids are beating me at shit.
Hell no.
So
Not until they're actually able,
not ever.
which is never.
Which is once they're 5 years old. So Q, I know you watched the All-Star game.
Yeah, it was good. The whole weekend was pretty good overall.
Other than the dunk contest
Yeah.
I never expect the dunk contest to be good.
anymore.
Ever.
Who was your favorite?
It's been good, like in
I know
recent years.
it's
Sometimes
been good,
though.
but I never am like, this is going to be dope based off the person because it's never the dude that you think is going to be sick. Like the best back and forth dunking contest ever was Levine and
Aaron
Gordon, yeah.
They were making them all.
Mhm.
It wasn't like 10 tries each, and their dunks were dope.
Well, that's the biggest thing is if you're not gonna make it on your first, they have like a 3
Yeah, I'm
like
glad they
limit
did
now.
that, yeah.
But if you don't make it on the first one, then it's like okay, it's not
Exactly,
It's
because
not
you know
the
what they're
hotness.
about to do.
Exactly.
That's what they need to do. Is like that. You can just keep attempting the dunk. That and the fucking judges.
Yeah,
They ruined it.
They
Judges.
overrate that shit.
Yeah.
Bro,
Crazy.
Like
I agree.
Like that Dennis Smith Jr. one at the end when he tried a bunch of times
Yeah.
and then they gave him a 50. It's like, so that's the best dunk because you can't give anything
That
higher
you
than
can
that.
do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they give you all the numbers, use them.
Yeah.
that shit bugs me so much because that's a every year thing.
Yeah.
Like the judges are always super generous.
Yeah.
I remember one year, I think it was Dr. J was like a little more stingy, and everyone was giving him shit, but it was like, bro, that's how it should be judged.
Shaq is like that too. He's like,
Yeah.
no, if you don't make it on the first, you're not getting a 10. It doesn't
Everyone
make sense.
That should be a
people-
rule.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know?
Because what happens when somebody does that dunk and does it on the first time?
Right.
You need to have room to have it be better.
Agree.
I feel like it's every 4 to 6 years the dunk contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just not that much shit you can.
Right.
You know, there's only so much you can do.
It's said every year. All we got to do is get the street dudes that you see on Instagram every day doing the dopest dunks ever.
Yeah.
Get them in it somehow.
I feel like they
have
probably.
the show.
I guarantee they see those and maybe try.
Well,
and
they
do
made
them.
that show with Shaq and Gary Payton. They were like judging those random dudes. I don't remember what the show was called. It was pretty dope though.
I still think what you guys said, it would be more impressive if you had to do it on the first or second try, but first try you're gonna get way more points.
Yeah.
And if the judges just judge like a normal, like if they actually
Maybe-
didn't give everything 50s.
Would you? So my theory in my head, if I was in the dunk contest, would be, I'll have like, you know, my 4 or 5 or 6 dunks or whatever, and you decide which ones you're going to use as you go along. But if I missed one of them on the first one, my
gotta do
second
something
try,
different.
I might try another one of my dunks in my arsenal. Although you don't have the one practice try, but at least it would be, you know, you see him try it, and then you're like, oh, he's about to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
It's
like
just
it
not
takes
as
all the
impressive.
buzz
It
away.
does.
It does. Yeah, dude. I mean, shit. This year, the skills challenge might have been the best event.
Yeah, I
And
was
that's
thinking,
normally like the throwaway.
we had the predictions before, and all my shits was wrong.
Yeah. I think mine.
That was crazy.
Mine
how-
were too.
Because Tatum won it, right?
Tatum won
with
it
a half quarter.
That shit was
Yeah, that was dope.
beauty.
That was sweet.
And when Trae Young beat De'Aaron Fox,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it just snuck in there in front of his on a deep
Yo,
three.
Trae Young was smart by like tossing the rock
Yeah.
up and then running after everyone's dribble. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
Yo,
got-
the one-
Luka tried that half court shit too, but he missed it.
Yeah.
yeah.
The one
That was
thing
my
I
pick.
wanted to see is having that throwing it through the hoop thing
Yeah.
mean more.
Yeah.
Because you can chuck 3 of those in a row against the thing, not have to make it once, and you get to go on.
They have a 3 maximum.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I saw like the highlights of it.
Yeah, that started to be the strategy like halfway through, and
Just
everybody
chuck
realized
on
that
that.
they
That's
had.
Yeah, that-
yeah.
They all
You
ended
used
up
to have to
making
make
it,
it.
but yeah.
They
Yeah,
could.
You could have been there all day.
I was thinking about this too, based off the fact that the skills challenge ended up being like the dopest thing in the dunk contest. At least to me, was a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
They could really beef up that skills challenge and make
Yeah.
it like super, because it's pretty simple right now.
Right.
The only thing about beefing it up is that you wouldn't get those, or you'd rarely get those last second finishes like you do now, because the more you put in it, the more you're going to allow people to spread
Yeah.
out and not be as close together. But
Yeah.
I feel like that could be really dope to see these guys do a bunch of different things, make it a little longer.
I've always liked the 3-point contest more than the dunk contest in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Most
even that
years.
was what's his name?
Joe Harris.
Joe Harris.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
was
thought,
like, damn, I didn't.
I thought Steph had that shit.
Did you see like Dell and Glenn Rice and everyone? They had a 3-point contest themselves.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, I saw that.
They didn't make. They made a couple shots.
Yeah, that
It
was,
like,
that was pretty weak watching that shit.
I
You
think
know what
Big
they
Dog
did?
was the best.
You remember what? It must have been like 5 or 6 years ago now when they had the 3-on-3 teams and they had like a tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like one hooper,
Mm-hmm. Like a
female
celebrity.
hooper, a celebrity,
Yeah.
and whoever
An
the
old
fuck.
timer.
Like a-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was dope.
Yeah, that was cool. They need. I like shit like that when you actually
Me too.
watch.
I like
basketball.
watching regular people play sports.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's even cool watching like. So I saw some of the highlights from the celebrity game, and you see like Jay Williams
Yeah.
hooping, and
Yo, he was
you
hooping.
realize it makes you realize how good the pros are too, and like especially
Absolutely.
the all stars.
Yep.
It's like, yo, Jay Williams looks fucking sick playing
Yeah.
against these.
Did you see Steve Smith out there
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't.
looking beefy?
Really?
Yeah, and he was
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
You
and
see
he was
these,
aggressive.
You see
Whoa.
these dudes out there, and then you see these NBA guys in their uniforms and shit. Like
Yeah.
they're next level. They're freaks in nature. dude.
Yeah.
Like the Greek freak man. You guys
Yo.
said it when we talked about it the other day. You guys both said he was one of your favorite players, I think.
He was ill.
And he's definitely one of mine now. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
seeing him around All-Star Weekend. I haven't really watched the Bucks much this year, but just seeing a lot of his game and shit. I like him.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
You saw the Steph to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, that was dope, but
It was
why
high
are
as
people
a
going
bitch.
so crazy?
In live, I was watching it in live time. I'm like, oh, there's no way.
I thought the ball
Like, no
hit
one's
a
gonna-
hit a trampoline or something, bro.
Well,
Like, I didn't expect
the ball
for it
went
to
high
go.
as shit, but
Yeah.
obviously he didn't jump 40
Right.
miles in the air.
It looked like he I don't know.
But
it
like
looked
the
no one
bench
was
and
gonna
shit
get
was
it.
going crazy, and I was like, that was dope. But like every one of you can do that,
I'm kind of like you in the fact that
and no one's trying to.
when I think
fuck
about
it
it,
up.
I wasn't like, oh my god, that's amazing, but it looked crazy.
Yeah.
And I have to err on the side of like all his fellow players were
Yeah.
like,
I know.
so I have to err on the side of like
Well,
they know more how impressive that is than
Right.
I do.
I didn't know if they were more impressed with the pass or did he jump super high. It didn't look like he jumped that high. No, he probably did.
Well, he's so long. Pause.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's Shaq said that in the telecast. He's like, he's so long. He's so long. Pause.
I think the most impressive part is to be able to time that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like he,
Like I said, it looked like no one was gonna get it. It
Yeah.
looked like it was like, oh, you kind of we're a little overzealous.
yeah,
But he got it.
it was dope. It looked
yeah.
dope. Did you
And he
see the
yammed it,
slow
too.
mo replay of that
Absolutely.
shit? That was
Like
sick.
100 times.
Yeah, it looked dope.
Never get sick of seeing that.
But it was a good All-Star game too.
Agreed.
Like
It
I
got
didn't
good in
expect
the third
Giannis's
quarter.
team to jump out like that,
Yo,
and then
I was about to hit you up like, we both fucking.
I know. Well, and then the squad that got back in it for Bron's team was the bench, like
Right.
Dame and shit.
Yo, Dame was pulling from the yard like
Yeah.
40, just cushion.
Big
all of it.
Big Dame fan.
Dame Dallas.
Yeah.
We got a 2 first super chats over here.
Super chat.
Hey,
Let's go.
Super chat there. Who now? Why me?
First one says 10 should be reserved for Vince Carter type ish.
Absolutely. Like Vince Carter's probably
Yo.
the best dunk contest.
I think
Was that
his was
2000?
I was gonna say this because I knew someone said, in my opinion, his was the best individual performance.
Absolutely.
So dope. But I thought the best like competition
Yeah.
I hear
was
you.
the Levine
I hear
and
you.
Gordon.
right.
And
Neither of them were far off.
in my lifetime, because I didn't really see the MJ dunk contest
Yeah.
and like Dominique and,
Yeah.
and Spud Webb but
Right.
like Vince and Jason Richardson were the two best
Yeah.
individual performances I've seen.
Absolutely.
And obviously I'm biased with Jay Rich, but I really do like if you see highlights
really
of that
do
shit,
think that was
it's
super,
crazy.
super
And real quick to that point, it wasn't in the dunk contest, but when Vince Carter jumped over that 7'4" dude in the Olympics,
Vince-
and all he did was bend his head.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Dude, Vince-
like no one's doing that.
Is Vince the
There's-
best dunker of all time?
I would say so. In my opinion, he's my
Yeah.
favorite.
At
He's
least
my
of our
favorite. Right.
generation.
Oh my god,
Yeah, I think so.
his bounce is just
Crazy.
Doink.
Man. You know who had way more dunks than like on people than I remember is Kobe when he was young.
Yeah, he was vicious.
Fro Kobe. Froby.
Yeah.
Froby.
Do you remember?
Froby won Kenobi.
You remember that dunk in NBA Street called the Hangman?
Oh yeah, where you
It's
go
a great
with your
game, by the
hands
way.
and then end up with one, or vice
it was
versa.
like you reach back here and your body was like bent in a backwards C almost.
Yeah,
Like
the one that
just
Stretch
full-
did.
Kobe
Speaking of Froby.
did that so much on people. It was crazy. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's where they had to have got that shit.
Yeah, young Kobe was the shit.
He was,
was
the
just
sideways
dunking on
jumpingest, dunkingest.
Do you
That's
guys
what I'm saying.
do you guys agree with Skip Bayless that LeBron owed us a dunk contest in his career?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked
Agree.
to seen it.
Yeah.
I guess he
Agree.
doesn't.
He doesn't
Oh
owe-
shit!
yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't have to. But,
Yeah, but
But he does.
Definitely should've.
Especially just because he's that type of player.
Yeah.
Like he'd be sick in a dunk contest.
if he didn't win it, people would
yeah,
slay him.
I know. And
like
I'm
it
sure,
meant something.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of the reason
I'm
he
absolutely
didn't.
positive. Yeah.
But it's just you see Jordan, you see Kobe, like there's those type of like Steph will never be in a dunk contest.
Right.
Like any big guy will never win a dunk.
Did you see his
contest.
dunk, by the way? At the
That was
end of the
dope.
game? Yeah, he was doing a 360 just like that, like
In
earlier
pregame?
in
Yeah.
pregame. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I'm
he-
like, yo, look at this guy.
I didn't realize he had it like that.
Rummy super chatted us and said, make all the All-Star games 3-versus-3 tourney with 8 teams.
It'd be sick.
That would
I
be
think
dope.
that's a dope idea. At least add it.
You've talked about that with like
Well,
comparing
hockey's
it-
been doing that shit.
Exactly,
And hockey's dope because they have 4 divisions. And there's like, I don't know.
so you can really separate it into
Yeah, so it's like
brackets.
6 or 8 teams. And it's these players. So it's kind of like also you're seeing where you stand, you know. There's
Yeah.
like guys from each team. It's just dope. Like your division's the dopest or whatever.
No, I always like stuff like that. Have
And
a
you
little
can't
more
do
fun
it in
with it.
baseball,
Yeah.
obviously.
Have a little more
Yeah,
fun with
I
it.
don't
Make
know.
it different than what we see every time.
And I'd still like, I'm not kidding, flag football would be way better for the NFL.
100%.
They should do that. 3-on-3 hockey, 3-on-3 basketball.
3-on-3 is the way.
Baseball's already
Ice
dope.
Cube recognized
and
it.
flag.
Big 3. He was smart.
So I didn't see it live, but a lot of people were talking about the J. Cole performance
At halftime.
And I tweeted today, what do people want to hear us talk about? And multiple people said J. Cole.
Bro, I was in my living room jumping around. That shit was so hype. It was so hype. It was just good. J. Cole is an amazing performer. I've seen multiple concerts of his just on TV, and his breath control is ill. He does like long ass sets and shit, and all his songs go hard, you know? So it's just dope.
Here was how I like went through it, because I didn't see it live, and then I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it and whatever. Didn't get to it. Saw that some fans mentioned it about the podcast today, and so I went and watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I had all that in the background, and I went and watched it. And when I got done, I was like, I wasn't super blown away or anything like that.
Yeah, it was just really
but
good.
then I was like, it's J. Cole, dude. Like, you want to see a J. Cole performance? He did a great job. Like, I'm not looking for a big production J. Cole fucking wilding out.
And it was kind of production.
It was produced well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But I also heard that he arranged for, like, they asked him to do it, and he was like, I want to do it my way then. And like everyone that was on the floor was like his fans who got in free.
Yeah.
And then he said because they had to wait like 5 hours just to be able to see that 10-minute set or whatever, he went and did a free show for them at some place after.
Yeah.
It's just
Wale
a
came
very
through with
J.
some-
Cole
that's-
thing to
that's
do.
just
Like super dope.
as
So,
hell.
yeah. And the song choices I thought he did for the performance were
I was surprised he did Love Yours.
dude, that's one of my favorite songs of his.
Agree. I was just like, oh, cool.
That's what I mean. He did.
I didn't-
It was very J. Cole. Like if you're a J. Cole fan,
it's not
you
like
were-
what I thought.
you were really happy with the set. If you were a J. Cole,
Did you see any of Meek's when he was doing the
Yeah, I
intro?
was wondering about that.
I didn't.
Not bad. He had to like mentally edit out a lot of his stuff, and you know sometimes he has a lot of it, so it was kind of.
It's got to be tough for some of those guys to do those
Yeah, that'd be
live
sick.
TV shows or performances.
We had a show one time, and we thought it was just a regular show, you know.
That shit was like Christian.
And they
camp.
they told us literally 10 minutes before we went on the stage that we had to have a clean set.
I remember that. I was there.
I'm like,
So we were
what?
out there like, what the fuck?
That's the worst. Like it's bad enough to just prep for that shit because you're so used to performing your songs as is.
Yeah.
So it's hard enough to prep for it and then execute it.
Exactly.
It's like next level to just be hit with it that day. And be
Yeah.
like,
We
hey,
definitely
You're
said
already-
some regular shit.
and you're already nervous. Like it's not
Exactly.
like we
It's
were
a
new to
show.
this shit.
Right.
You're already nervous. Like I'm performing in front of a bunch of new people that don't know my music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, by the way, edit yourself.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh.
That was like a
okay.
cancer event, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Some shit.
So I'm like, it was in a big ass gym.
No, I'm not even talking about that one.
I thought you were because I was
No,
at that one.
that one. That was like one song though, wasn't it?
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't.
I think we did a.
We had to do a whole
little
fucking set for 97.5. You remember that pink tie event?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
what
yeah,
the
yeah,
hell?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah,
high.
Yeah. Yikes.
Right before we went on, they're like, your whole set.
Dude, next podcast we should see if we can
Not sorry.
get Dax to edit himself.
Never. Never.
But yeah, J. Cole performance, I thought it was dope.
Anthony Hamilton did the national anthem, and it was
Oh,
like
word?
it was a very different spin on it. A spin I've never even heard. It was like a doom, doom.
I don't like when
with,
people
like,
do
the
spins on
guitar.
the national anthem.
Dude,
Oh,
and
gee.
sing that shit faster.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like when
it
people
was
put.
like,
I don't like when people
wow.
put spins on it. I don't like when they like drag the fucking notes out like crazy. Just sing the anthem and let's get to the game.
I like the national anthem. I love it. It like gets you pumped and shit, but stop making it like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was.
It's not
amazing.
your song.
That's
it's
my thing
never
is, like-
supposed to be your song.
Yeah, and I get you're an artist,
Whoa.
you're creative, but stop doing that shit like it's a performance.
Exactly.
Sing the anthem to start the game.
Yeah, that shit pisses me.
And I love Anthony Hamilton. You know this.
And I'm
You know what I mean?
sure people
But-
could do the national anthem and spice it up and make it like artistically sound super cool, whatever.
Yeah,
Me personally, I'm just like, give me the anthem.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and hurry up. Let's fucking
not
get
that
to it.
you-
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get to
Exactly. It's not that you
Didn't the last All-Star game somebody sing the-
Fergie.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's it.
Bro.
Sway the
You,
remix gods. Remix that shit. was fun.
you'd think after that they would straight up get someone to just sing the anthem.
Yeah.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
The Red Wings have the same chick sing the national anthem every game.
Yeah, I bet she better
That's
be extra confident.
She's
Yeah.
dope, but
Ooh.
you know, like you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It was good though overall.
Anybody listen to So Far Gone when it dropped?
Oh, is that the new shit?
That new fire
Then
mixtape.
that hot shit.
So I heard it's well, and let's get some guesses. Does anyone know what the estimates are on what it's supposed to sell first week?
No.
And I want to say this just real quick before you tell this. This is exactly what we were saying
Literally last
week. You know how Wiz, he had like
Drake was listening.
the success of having this. Oh, I think we said about that whole class. They had the success of selling it on iTunes.
Yeah.
And then they're re-releasing it. And now they're gonna get the success of reintroducing these classic albums on and getting like stream money.
Plus the nostalgia.
First of all,
like,
that shit is very smart.
The greatest shit I've ever heard.
I can't believe how many people of the 200 people that I follow on Twitter had November 18th repost.
Yo, that's
how you know that everyone's just fucking jamming this.
Yeah.
That shit's still so
Everyone
funny.
was so pumped to listen to that. I bet it did fucking crazy numbers.
Well, that's why
I'm about to go listen to it after this.
That's why I was interested in this shit because and especially because it's Drake.
Yeah.
Like, and then given everything you just said and what we talked about last week, I was trying to think about what his first week numbers would be and what he could do or whatever. But it is an album that has been out.
Right.
So I want to get everybody in the room's guesses on what his first week.
Dude, I don't even know like a ballpark.
I know, I was about to say,
I know it could be
what did Scorpion do first week?
700 something, I think.
700 what?
1,000?
Yeah, 700,000. Like album equivalents. Like when
I would
take
say
streaming and
I would
What
everything.
does
say
that mean though? Sorry, I
It's
need
like
more.
I don't remember what the exact calculation is, but it takes streaming into account and tries to equate.
I don't
that
know
to
what
an album.
the
I can't remember how many.
there's this formula
There
that
is,
they use.
yeah, I've
and
definitely seen it, and I don't remember.
So
what
is
it
that like listens, or that's how many people bought it?
It's
plays
they've come up with a
streams.
calculation
Like-
to equate X amount of streams
Right.
to an album. sale.
right, like 10
It's not like one stream.
or like
Oh,
just to say.
so
some
the
random ass number.
700,000 is really however many millions. That's like the whole.
Yeah, they
you know what I'm
like-
saying? This is a game show. I need to know more.
No,
about.
there's
Yeah,
like I feel like there's like
Here, let me see
streaming
if I
numbers,
can
and then there's like album sales.
So like every 10 plays, they get one. Is what I'm saying. Something
yeah,
like
yeah,
right,
yeah,
but
yeah.
but whatever it is, it's more than that. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Absolutely.
But that's what you mean by that.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay. All right. More context.
Wait, here. Let me look up.
So
We can learn
10
shit today,
song
y'all.
sales or 1,500 song streams
Mm,
Okay, and I'll give you some.
from an album are treated equivalent to one purchase of the album.
okay.
So 1,500 song streams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll give you some context. Scorpion was, I think this is hip hop albums for 2018. Scorpion did 750,000. That was number one. Travis Scott, Astro World was number two with 553,000. Number 20 was Logic with 117,000.
Okay.
He had, that was Bobby Tarantino too, because he had another one that had 167,000. But those are the top 20 hip hop.
Who are you giving first bet to?
Let's start with Mo.
Does he know? I feel like this is something he's
Yeah,
already.
well,
researched.
Wait, what are we talking
Computer
about?
searching.
So Far Gone just came out Friday.
Yeah, no, I know.
What are the projected first week sales? Because you know how once it's like Monday, they can project what it's gonna do.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to guess, but
Kamikaze was 434,000.
I feel like I'm cheating because I've already seen.
Well,
So
if
this
you
is-
think
this is what
you're
they're
cheating, don't go
guessing?
Yeah.
first.
I mean, obviously it's not out yet, but this is what they're guessing, or this is the first weekend.
It's first week they're projecting. So, but once they're usually pretty
Pretty
accurate.
close?
It's
Sometimes
not like fantasy football.
Yeah, sometimes they're decently off, but they're usually pretty accurate.
I'm gonna say 481.
See, I was taking into consideration he's made a lot more new fans since then. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the new fans that don't really know about it would be like, "Oh wow, some new shit, really?" I don't know. It's hard to find a new Drake fan, it's kind of, but
Right.
I'm thinking more along the lines of
That's so hard. I like that.
900 to a million. 1 point.
More than Scorpion.
Yes. Only because, like I said, Scorpion's like, I don't know.
Moe-T,
It's like
I know you've
the
been
new
looking it up
product.
over there.
Mm-hmm.
You're a cheater. I wanted to get your guess.
Let's hear it.
All right. No, we're not going to get his guess because he's been looking it up. But, all right, the actual projected numbers. 40,000 to 50,000.
What the fuck?
Damn.
Really?
And I'm at 900.
That's why I wanted to have you guys guess though, is because I would not have been surprised with 1 million, and I'm not surprised with 50,000.
I'm not either, because
I'm
it's just like the
fucking shocked for
nostalgia
some
thing.
reason.
And it's
up.
yeah,
Like, you can
it's-
find it now.
And it's not like pushed by the label and marketed with singles and like crazy. And yeah, it's music people have heard. It shows you what a new album and all the marketing and everything that it does can go in. It isn't just like, oh, so-and-so put something out, I'm going to go whatever.
Yeah.
So the reason I bring it up too is I saw a DJ Booth who I normally like. I do. I like DJ Booth. I think they write good articles. They talk about interesting stuff. And when they posted this and said the 40 to 50,000, they kind of, whoever wrote the article kind of put it in the context of, like you guys, that it's surprisingly low.
Mm-hmm.
They said something like it's sobering, I think is the word they used. But I was just like I said, if you asked me to guess a number before I knew, I probably would have been a lot higher than 40 to 50. I don't know. But it doesn't surprise me. And I think people need to, I don't know. Did it surprise you, Mo?
Yeah, it surprised me.
Did you thought it would be higher?
I thought it would be higher.
Because-
I don't think much. I thought it was going to be just short of 100.
Well, that's not
That's
not
like,
that
for
huge
Drake
of a-
to do anything,
Yeah,
I know.
I just expect massive numbers.
Me too.
I think that's the thing that it just tells me though, is that's how big Drake is because 40 to 50,000 is a good
number.
Like that's good first week sales.
Yeah.
For a brand new album that's marketed well. Like we could probably look up a ton of what we would consider hot hip hop artists in 2018 that didn't do that first week. For something with a single and marketed well through a major label on big playlists and shit like that didn't do those numbers. Drake out of the blue drops a 10-year-old puts out releases on DSPs, 10-year-old album. And honestly, weren't there a fair amount of songs from So Far Gone on DSPs before he even did this?
Yeah. Well, there was like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to do 40 to 50,000.
Also, to put it in perspective, too, like this hot new hip hop article that I looked up, like just to put it into perspective, what do you guys think Ariana Grande's Thank You Next album did? Top of the Billboard chart,
Yeah.
First week,
first week.
See, I'm scared to guess now. I
top of the Billboard chart.
10
first
billion.
week. I'll go like
I don't think so.
I'll say 400.
I'll say 750.
400 is pretty close. 360.
Damn.
Wow.
I mean,
I
dude,
was about to say some hot
hip hop's
shit.
the biggest genre in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
These motherfuckers love Ariana Grande though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a fucking superstar.
But the thing is, like, to put that into perspective, though, 40 to 50 for Drake on a mixtape that was released years ago.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about. There's not
That's
like
pretty good if you put it into that
It is.
perspective.
That's what's
Yeah.
just funny
I'm
about
not
it.
saying, I don't know
know.
if it's good
I
or
mean,
bad. It's
it's
just
just
like,
lower than I
not what I thought.
expected.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
kind of
for
what they
sure.
concluded too.
Wow,
Is it's
wow.
like this hasn't really ever happened before, and now we have a bar.
Yeah.
Like
What did Kush and Oranges get? I bet
don't
it
know.
got less than that.
you should look that
I'm
up.
sure. I'm sure.
But that's the greatest mixtape of all time.
I agree.
I don't disagree.
Before it goes
I
away,
agree.
thanks Vanquish Games for the $20 super chat.
Hey,
Vanquish Games.
Dang.
Good luck.
Thank you, my brother or
Cushion
sister.
OJ first week
I'm thinking brother, bro.
sales.
Thank you. Thank you.
That might even be hard to find. They're gonna be like, it was a mixtape.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I
Not
just
just a mixtape.
I just
It
thought that was
the
interesting. Like
mixtape.
it's easy in retrospect to be like, yeah, 40 to 50 is good.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But before you knew, if
No,
I would have been like 500,000, I would have been like, yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe a little disappointing, but now I'm, it's just there was no bar.
Man.
I'll be curious to see what the actual numbers are.
Yeah, must be nice to drop a 10-year-old album, not have to make any new music, not have to market it like crazy or anything like that, and just do 40 to 50,000.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking
Shit.
crazy.
Awesome.
Been a long time coming.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
All right, so let's get into some random topics I was thinking about this week. One thing that came up in the studio with Apollo was biting flows. Is it still a thing?
I mean,
Not
The
is it a
term?
thing? Not is it a thing like do people bite flows?
Right.
Is it a thing that we
So
care
many-
about? What was that?
Sorry.
Oh,
the government.
This is live.
this is live.
Hackers, the hackers.
Because obviously people steal
It's a
flows and shit,
thing.
but do we care?
It depends.
I
on,
don't. Yeah, that's just totally situational.
It's like
It can't.
if you like the messenger, then you'll fuck with it. You know, if you don't like it, then it's just human nature type shit. But
It depends. Yeah, and if you do it exactly the same as them, and you're, like that Tory Lanez shit.
I mean, I think
exactly the same song.
J. Cole, Middle Child, I copied your
Then,
cadence. Then,
Yeah,
he's like, I did exactly what you did.
but if you're doing it on the same beat and the song's the same, and
Well,
it's
forget the
laid
same.
out
Forget the same
same
beat. Forget the
I
same
don't
beat.
Just like
Sometimes
Migos flow.
Well,
type
sometimes
shit.
I can't tell. People are like, "You bit my flow" or whatever, and I'm
Well,
like, I can't even fucking tell.
They say
bro.
Drake's the king of the bite.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree.
Yeah,
He is.
But my
He
thing
just
is,
soaks up the energy, is what he says.
well, dude, and I don't know if I'd say it that way, but
That's what he said.
I know. But I do agree. Like, bro, I listen to all these artists, like my favorite ones. It's no wonder when I go rap, I might sound like them here and there. I might flow like them. I might use the same cadences. And I was talking to Apollo. It's like, bro, I've never once sat down and been like, I'm going to make a song like this. Like, I'm going to flow like that.
Right.
But I have sat down, written a verse, and been like, that sounds like this. And but I'm not going to not, I think it's dope.
Right.
And I also think a lot of people that bitch about biting flows and shit, especially rappers,
Ain't got none.
can't bite a flow if they wanted to.
Exactly.
Like, some of those flows are hard to do that cadence and shit like that. And I think if you just naturally can do that shit as a rapper, it makes you dope. And yeah, you hear that from J. Cole and Drake and some of those guys is that, yeah, I looked up to Eminem and Jay-Z and
Right.
Kanye, and I stole some of those flows, and they stole some flows from people. I hate even saying stole flows. I think it's more inspired than anything else.
Yeah.
Then, like what Dax said, once you start getting into, okay, he obviously used this song
As a template.
and morphed it into his own song.
yeah.
That's when I'm with you on like, that's going too far.
But the Tory
I just-
Lanez shit is still dope.
It still sounds dope, right?
Yeah. At least versus Joyner Lucas. I haven't heard all the new shit.
That's fine too. But when you're like profiting off
Yeah.
copying someone else, that's when I don't start to like.
Well, I mean, that's when
But-
you see those people getting taken to court and shit. And it's like,
Right.
you sonically, this, I
Like that
trademarked or some
fucking
shit like that.
Robin Thicke shit,
Blurred lines, yeah.
That sounded exactly the same. Straight up. The beat was exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Just
it
with a
anymore.
little. Ding.
Yeah, there was like one minuscule difference, and they're like, no.
That's like,
It's like you can't possibly
dum,
make
dum,
the
dum, dum,
exact
dum,
same
dum.
song by accident.
yeah.
So that is
Vanilla
too close
Ice. Is that what I'm
to
thinking?
me.
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
He said his shit wasn't like.
And I think a lot of that shit too is they are copying it. They just don't take the necessary precautions to clear it and do all that shit, which is stupid.
Yeah.
But
What do you expect?
yeah, I mean, they just thought they'd get away with it type of shit.
Yeah. That's where I think too, as long as, like you said with J. Cole, he says that in that record. I think as long as you, and I think Drake a lot of times, maybe not all the time, but a lot of times he will acknowledge the genres of like subgenres of hip hop that he steals some of that shit from.
Right.
He will say like, I'm inspired by this shit. I've been listening to a lot of this shit. And then he comes out like when he still does some of it, but when he really did the whole UK grunge flow and shit like that,
Yeah.
he made it no secret that he was into that shit.
Right.
And it wasn't something that he just magically came up with.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you do that, I don't know, man, especially this day and age with the internet, if you give credit where you got your inspiration from and stuff, like if somebody came and made a song similar to one of mine, but expressed that they were inspired by my song or whatever,
What if it was whack?
then that would suck. But I would also, I don't know that I would. I guess it's difficult because I really wouldn't care. But then when you mention if that song blows up and they're just making a shit ton of money on it and it really sounds like my song,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, just because you said, oh, and shout out Packy. But I would also assume if that song's making a ton of money and that person acknowledges their inspiration from my song, it's probably benefiting me too.
Probably,
but not to a huge extent.
Exactly. That happens
Yeah,
a lot,
all the
man.
time.
A lot.
Like the
Drake
guy,
is the king.
Yeah.
You hear that with those underground rappers all the time that you don't hear about, but he's like does a song with them or like I don't know. And then
well, Tory Lanez, the whole beef back and forth. This guy was in the headlines all the time, right?
yeah.
And they had links to his shit, and the guy was saying, "Go listen to my shit," and blah blah. I don't know. I don't even remember that guy's name. Basically, moral of the story. I know.
Yeah.
True.
I know Tory Lanez.
He had a moment.
Fucking the guy that was writing for Drake.
Yeah.
I listened to a few of his songs. I didn't like them.
Yeah. Oh, Quentin Miller?
Yeah. See?
Yeah. Yo,
Like,
his voice is just horrible. It's like,
That's the thing too. Like this doesn't make it right. But as like a consumer, I'm glad Drake's doing it then. If this dude has the idea but doesn't do it justice, I'm glad, but I get what you're saying.
To me, that's like
that doesn't make it right.
That's like country music. Like these people are writing their songs because these artists are bigger.
Yeah.
And they're better at singing or whatever they're better at. They have more following. So I might as well sell my lyrics to these people and then whatever royalties or however that works. So I don't know. It's just weird in rap because the guidelines are so different for everything in rap as far as music goes.
I've always said I'd love to be a songwriter, especially for like sing-songy shit. Like I feel like I come up with good melodies, I can write good songs, but any of those sing-songy shits, I just can't execute like somebody else could.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I would love to just write those for somebody else.
Well, that's a job. You know,
Yeah,
you get
I know.
paid a lot to ghostwriter.
Yeah.
I used to hear $5,000 a verse or some random shit. It depends on who it is, obviously, but
Well, a lot of times you probably just get a cut of the record too.
just
like a percentage.
maybe you don't even want to
sure.
be in like the spotlight and shit. And you're just like, I'll just write this.
Yeah, Nashville,
paid.
these people they just go around and perform at bars, and then the artists come and listen, or their A&R or whoever goes and listen to them and is like, oh, that song, great. Like,
They
we
do
can
that
make
for
that
comedy.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though it's their song that they were performing at the bar, they just haven't popped, so they buy it off them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Mo, you should bring up that Black quote, because what Q said just
And
made
I'm
me
black, y'all.
think about that. Like you said, maybe people don't even want to be in the spotlight and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Black, I think it was an Instagram post, had kind of a long written out thing, and it just really like I related to it a lot, and it speaks to what you said. I'll read it for the people that are listening.
Zoom back a little bit.
Yeah, shit. I was gonna read it, but I don't even know if I
Need my binoculars. Actually, I don't. All right, there we go. Perfect.
It says, I often look at people in my industry, the ones who choose to stay behind the scenes, who don't prefer or are afraid of the spotlight, and I can see why they chose that path. Money changes people. Money changes things. It solves the shit that we stress about on paper, but invites things we can't solve with an auto pay button. You got to be 100 levels above strong to handle the volume of shit sent your way once you open the door for the world to walk in. And the only thing that makes what we, not just entertainers, all humans, go through worth it is purpose. If you have a dream, a product, a person, an idea, and faith, then that's what you use as fuel for your journey. Being in the spotlight was never my personality, but I adapted to speak a bigger language. I'm not here because I want to be seen, but if being seen means I reach 100 instead of 10, then let's get to work. Random thoughts on a regular Saturday. Sending love to any peers that need it. Whatever you're worried about is already handled.
That's ill.
Yeah, I just like, cause me specifically,
Yeah.
I relate to that.
Absolutely.
I never got into music. I never got into rap because I was like, I want to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
I just liked writing and making music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of artists can probably relate to that as far as they had a love for the craft and not necessarily. I think these days, some of the people that are popping now have a love for the spotlight and not the craft.
Right.
I think before all this social media and signing people that are Instagram famous and all this shit, I think before that, a lot of people had a love for the craft. And that doesn't mean people didn't have a love for performing and all that shit. I'm just saying there is a pocket of people that are more behind the scenes. But the one thing I love that he added is, if being in the spotlight means I can take this shit to 100 instead of 10, then so be it. Let's do it.
Right.
And that's where I think some people miss the boat. Is it's like, well, I don't want this, and I'm just gonna say this sucks. No, it's like it's still a job at the end of the day, and if you want to get to this level, you got to do some things you don't love, and there's a lot of shit that comes along with it. But I like the fact that he puts it out there that it's not why he got into it, but he's like, let's fucking go.
No, I fuck with that heavy. I hadn't seen that until just now.
You think money changes things or fame changes things?
Both. I mean, if you hit the lottery and no one knew about it, it would change things, or like, not necessarily that extreme.
I think it changed things, but I don't necessarily think money changes as many things for the bad as probably fame does. I feel like I could relate to that a lot more. I mean, I'm not famous, but I mean, that makes more sense in my head as far as like fame changes things. Fame changes people for the worse. Yeah. And money can help change things in your life for the better.
And to be honest with you, when I read it, I was kind of thinking more fame.
Yeah, I guess that's
because he talked about being in the spotlight and shit like that.
They kind of go hand in hand to me.
They do.
I expect
in that industry.
Exactly. If you're famous, I expect you to have some kind of money. Some, you know what I mean? And even just on like a regular ass person level, like let's say you have friends or family who like you helped out or something like that, and they know you have it, so they continue to like reach out to you, and you can see that. Or like you become let's say you start popping with the music, and then all of a sudden you're not famous, but because they expect you to have some money, certain people could be like, well, why aren't you taking care of this? Why aren't you doing this? And then that causes people to switch up on you. Yeah. I mean, but again, they think you're famous.
That's changing other people around you. Like I was just thinking about like fame changes
people.
Like the person more than money changes the person.
Well,
not necessarily more, but
it seems like if it doesn't change you, it'll change the other people, and if it doesn't change them, it'll change you. That's what it seems like.
I think it takes a lot for somebody to hear over and over again that they're the dopest person ever to not have that affect their psyche to the point that they start to just believe that.
Jimi Hendrix said that in an interview. He's like, I don't even really love getting compliments because I think most people, this isn't exactly the quote, I think most people, that just goes to their head and makes them think they're better than they are, so they quit practicing and they quit doing this and they quit doing that.
Yep, that's real.
And doing the things that got them to that place in the first place.
Yeah, that's why Jimmy's a GOAT.
I think in addition to that, like the flip side of that, what Black kind of mentioned too is you have that, but you also turn the volume up on everything, and especially now with the social media age. I know I talk about this all the time, and it sucks. I can hear 100, you're dope, you're dope, you're dopes, and 1, you're the worst rapper ever, I fucking hate you, and that's what sticks with me. And it's like, so for someone that didn't necessarily want the spotlight in the first place, it's like, that can easily make you just go in a shell and be like, fuck this shit, man.
Yo,
like,
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make him go in the shell, obviously. Yeah. He's out here balling, but he hears everything.
You can focus on that instead of the 100, but you need to be able to put that shit in perspective.
Right.
Not react in the moment. Right. Go sit back and shit like that. And it's definitely not for everybody, man. But yeah, I mean, that's what's crazy is the just little bit of a following that you and I have gathered with the Specktators. Like in comparison to these famous people, it's nothing. But the little bit of following we've had, you get to see a little bit of a microcosm of fans, like having fans and people that fuck with you and people that fucking don't.
Right.
And I take that shit to heart. I can't imagine literally just every day being bombarded with, I fucking hate you, I fucking love you.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, you really do have to just like detach. And that's why with Kevin Durant, for an example, I get you have your image and whatever, and the more you can interact with your fans and do that shit, the better. But if you're an athlete, man, I don't think you have that responsibility as much as you do as an artist. Maybe I'm stupid, but like I think you could go about your craft, turn off the notifications, like just kind of do what you got to do and stay above it and do your shit. I mean, whereas an artist, you kind of got to be involved with what's being said about you, and it kind of affects you.
That's probably true as an athlete, but athletes have to do all the endorsements and all this other bullshit that they want, and that's the reason that they do probably have to stay more, be in commercials and do the social media stuff for that side of it more than I agree with you strictly being an athlete
as far as their craft.
Yeah. Like you don't have to even have a Twitter or an Instagram. Right. But I guarantee if you get a Nike contract, you better have a Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So, I mean, just a different side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another, just a random thing I came across on Twitter. I think I sent you the video, Mo. and I didn't even. It was someone retweeted this on my timeline. But I thought it was just another really good point that I thought could be a topic of
Just
discussion.
want me to play the video?
Yeah, just play the video. I think it's pretty short, isn't it? Like a minute.
Yeah, I think so.
I just don't think that the myth of the lone creative genius is just that.
Yeah, it's a myth.
It's a myth because so many great ideas will be conceived and die in the minds of creatives who just never got their shit together. And I think we need to challenge ourselves to adopt that discipline, again, at the expense of like some of our creative whims, as well as surround ourselves with people that hold us accountable. What does that mean? It means sharing ideas liberally before they're ready to be shared, which is sort of like a shocking thing to a creative professional that cares so much about the polish and sending the message exactly when it's ready and not a moment too soon. But on the contrary, what I hear from a lot of great entrepreneurs and artists is that when they share their work prematurely, they benefit from the accountability and the feedback and the dots being connected by people around them, and that those benefits outweigh the costs of someone potentially stealing the idea or of just them feeling like they kind of violated their creative ethos of not sharing it until it's ready.
I think it's interesting to me because I always have some of our fans want to be artists themselves, and people are always asking for advice and how to get started and shit like that. And I'm always looking for something new, a piece of advice to give that can kind of apply to everyone, because there's so much that's just like you got to adapt to your situation and shit. But I thought that was interesting to say. Basically, so many great ideas die in the minds of creatives who never got their shit together. Like, there's a lot of people with really dope ideas.
Yeah.
And talented.
Right.
But there is a certain discipline that you have to execute those things and actually allow them to come to light. It's kind of sad to think about, like what he said there. But I think it's true, and it's a step that a lot of people skip because it might not be, especially for the creative, talented people, might not be the most fun step.
That's real. I mean, there's a reason why they have the 10,000 hours. Like, that shit that you do behind the scenes is what shines when you get your shot, when you get your chance to do your thing,
Yeah, I mean, and that balance too of like, he kind of added at the end there, I think a lot of people get caught up in the perfectionist state. Like, you can go too far with it.
I can definitely relate to
You
that
know,
shit.
that's fact.
You can be like,
Absolutely.
oh no, I'm not gonna let anybody do this, like borderline too disciplined, or at least using that as a cop out. Like, no, I'm gonna get this fucking, and then you never do anything.
Right.
You need to be able to like release that shit out there, get certain feedback, deal with whatever bad things come of that.
Right.
But then get that snowball going down the hill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think there's definitely pros and cons. There's a balance somewhere in between of the creativity, the talent, and then the perfectionist and the discipline. You got to find that balance somewhere in between, because I think too far to either side can be detrimental to you.
Yeah.
That quote was dope, or that little clip.
Yeah, I thought that was dope. His name, the guy speaking, I think, was Scott Belsky. I wrote down. I don't even know who it is, but I just saw that retweeted on my timeline and thought,
Scott Belsky.
we have a lot of people asking for advice and shit like that, whether it be entrepreneurial or artist, whatever. And I think that can just apply to a lot of areas.
Yeah,
That's just
for sure.
real, man.
What do you guys think about? Sounds like 6ix9ine might get off scot free.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
Not
Like, we
really.
were saying, reduced, but my goodness,
Scot free, dude.
Well, he
Yeah.
gave up how many people?
all
A
of
lot.
them.
And I'm sure part of that deal is to continue to give up anyone.
Yeah, he'll be protected. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
what a life to live. I guess
Yeah.
it's better than the
I
alternative.
think I heard for sure like he's going into witness protection or
yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
yeah.
So that, and I think they talked about it on the Joe Budden podcast. So not to snake a topic, but it's interesting to me. What do you guys think happens when he gets out and goes into witness protection? Can he rap? Can he put music out?
First of all, how do you put somebody like that in witness protection?
Just dye his
Does
hair,
he just
cut that
erase
shit.
all of his tattoos that like give him away immediately?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 6ix9ine face tattoo.
like
A
seriously.
little makeup
Yeah.
will go skr skr.
Like, who's not gonna recognize this?
You definitely got to try to get those tattoos removed somehow. I don't know.
I mean, what does witness protection really give? Like what?
I don't
Let's
like.
just buy you time.
It's just like a new identity, like pretty much. Like, he'll change his name, he'll change where he lives.
That doesn't have anything to do with like the cops guard your fucking house.
it might like for a certain amount
for
of
a certain
time.
period of time. They don't really
Then that
guard
money
your
run
house
out.
though. It's just
Yeah.
like a heightened level of awareness.
Because plus, if they guard it too much, then it's like, okay, who's this person that just moved in?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he walked outside. He's got tats all over his face. Hey, Twitter.
Right. Exactly. This day and age, snap a picture.
Yeah.
Is this him?
Yeah.
And you know TMZ is going to be out there looking for they're going to
probably already
have
out there.
everyone looking for him when he
Yeah.
gets out. I don't know, man. That's
Hey, good.
Yeah,
for
I
him.
mean,
Weird.
can't you just do all that shit on your own? Go change your name and get a different haircut and like
yeah, of course you can.
I mean, when
I don't
do
know
they
if you
have
can
to-
change.
yeah,
I don't
they
think you
have to
can
be-
change your identity.
No, they
though.
have to make sure that he won't get killed because he is
Well, and
I'm just saying.
fresh meat
and
out
it's
here.
Yeah.
hiding like all your previous.
That's what I mean.
records
It's like
under
you are a
your
different person.
specific name, so that they can't. Nobody on the inside can like track you or anything like that. Like you are completely a new person at that point.
But yeah, to be that recognizable and then to have made your living the way you did, I would imagine he can't go back to doing that. Wouldn't?
I mean, he can,
He should-
but I bet
I would think he would lay
hopefully-
low key for a second.
Yeah, for sure. But I bet he does, and I bet all these dumbasses that listen to him are still gonna listen to this motherfucker. They'll be like the real people that are like, all right,
Yeah.
that's enough. Like, I don't care how dope of a song this dude puts out. This dude is whack.
Yeah.
But I
But then there'd
guarantee
be
a
the
bunch of
14-year-olds that
yeah,
are
they
just
don't give a
like-
fuck, bro.
Yeah.
No, I kind of think that if it were to happen, but I still can't. Like, what is the point of witness protection if you're out here being like, I'm back, 6ix9ine, let's put out some
Yeah.
That's what
fucking
I'm
music.
saying,
What is witness protection?
Right.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
He can't. There's. I
We
don't
should look
think
it
he
up.
can do that.
Pray for Tekashi. They won
Like
him
if
that
he accepts witness protection, he can't do that.
I wouldn't
Right.
think so.
There's got to be
Yeah,
some kind of
yeah.
No, that wouldn't make sense.
No,
Yeah.
that wouldn't make
that
sense.
wouldn't make sense.
I don't even need to look it up because I'm positive that that's not.
God, this dude.
Well, not
so
for him
stupid.
in particular, but we could just say witness protection is this man will stand around the corner. You know, they got to be like,
Yeah, I don't.
how many movies have we seen
I
with
think
witness
he's
protection?
standing
They
around the
like
corner getting
in a
hoed
van, just watching your ass.
out. Shit.
For real,
I don't know. It's
literally.
gonna be weird when that happens, though. Like, what does he just disappear off the face of the earth? Then and we never heard about this kid again?
That's
be,
what
Until
witness
he gets
protection
fucking
is for.
sniped
Well, yeah.
that'll be an inside
5
joke.
days after he gets into witness protection, whatever the fuck that.
Like, will he go live in another country or some shit?
Hey,
I mean, no, not
Whatever.
another country. Because if it's witness protection with the United States,
Yeah,
he would
yes,
have to
yeah.
live in the United States.
because I feel like once he leaves, he's fucking peace. Like I'm free. Like you can't touch me wherever. That's
Right.
all
Well,
movies
and
I've
the
seen.
cops can't do anything about
Right.
that if he's in a different country.
Help us on, dude.
Yo, pray for Tekashi. Did win him there, right?
I saw some fans when I asked about topics say update on the 21 Savage situation.
Come on.
I don't really have one. Like, glad he's out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason he
He
needs to
did
be
an
detained.
ABC.
He's a
joint.
public figure. He's not gonna
Yeah.
fucking. What's he gonna do? Hide? No.
Right.
I don't think you need to detain him. So
And I guess I heard that if you're not like a violent,
that's what I mean.
you
There's
know,
no
then,
reason he needs
yeah,
to be
he should-
behind bars
yeah,
or
bond
anything
is-
like that.
should be given to
Yeah.
him.
So I'm glad he's out. But I watched his little interview. I thought he did a good job speaking.
Yeah.
I didn't like gather some crazy new information from it. I think we just
Right.
got to kind of see how it unfolds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, he's just kind of waiting in limbo. Even
Yeah.
as he was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How I don't know what else to.
And he did kind of confirm what we said on the podcast of a reason he probably didn't get his shit together once he figured it out is he didn't want to draw attention to himself
Mhm.
and be like, "Hey, I'm here illegally. Let's
Right.
let's
Moe-T.
get this." Yeah, we had no idea. We kind of speculated that shit, but he kind of said that,
Mhm.
which makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, there's not. So for whoever asked that, not really much of an update. We kind of just got to see how that shit unfolds.
21. Cole, shout
Shout out everybody that's still here. Do we got anybody in the room still?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I've been rocking.
We're
Hey.
gonna. I think after this, did you bring the sticks?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna hop on the PS4.
Ooh.
I'm about to go get something to eat first.
Yeah, we can grab some
I'm as
grub.
hungry as I've ever been.
Maybe we can just maybe get something delivered, or someone can just go run and grab a hot pie.
You.
A hot topic in the chat that you guys haven't covered yet is the Dax.
Yeah,
What
dude.
the fuck is this shit?
So-
I saw something like
Okay, so I meant to, because I saw somebody say something about that, and I meant to research it today, but I was busy. Apparently Dax, because I didn't even know who Dax was before.
Is he a
the Tory
YouTuber?
Lanez shit.
Or is he a rapper?
He's a rapper.
Okay.
But I think he does like good
They have
videos
dreads?
and shit. So
like
he
short dreads,
yeah, like
What is he?
top
Fucking
heavy.
new rapper? Gee.
pretty jacked.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I actually do know. Who it
yeah.
is.
But because obviously Tory was all anybody that wants whatever, and he did a diss record. He's from, I don't know if he's from Toronto, but he's from Canada.
Okay.
I think he's from Toronto.
Okay,
That Canadian
just
bacon.
for reference, did this dude get like kind of big though by dissing like KSI?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he had something with KSI, and that's why the YouTube thing comes to mind when you said that.
Mhm. That would make sense, I guess.
Because he's some type of like,
Chat.
Yes.
What's good? You know what I mean?
yeah, okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right. Carry on.
I know nothing about this dude.
I don't either. So whoever does is gonna be like,
Back in
I
my
checked some of his
day.
shit out a while back. It was straight.
Yeah.
Like he can rap.
Like Dex?
Yeah,
no, the other. Fucking,
I listened to the diss record and I was like, okay, you can rap.
I didn't hear that, but yeah, he can
Okay.
spit.
But
Y'all know we
all
can't
I
play
know is that, and I think Adam22 did an interview with him, and I wanted to watch that.
Mhm.
Like, but I never got around to it, so that probably would have given me more information. But whatever. All I know is he took the invitation basically that Tory extended to everybody, dissed him, and then Tory like pulled up on him with a bunch of dudes and like on camera made him apologize.
What?
And I don't really know much more than that.
Yeah.
I thought Tory would just be with Don Q because he
Yeah.
was dropping tracks
Yeah,
for that.
and I think the name of Dax's diss record was "I'm Not," because
oh yeah. I
Don Q's
saw
was
that.
"I'm Not Joyner."
Yeah.
I think Dax's was "I'm Not Joyner or Don Q,"
Yeah.
or something like that.
God, these motherfuckers are so stupid.
But I know, and here's where I think I'm missing some shit in between, because I think Tory then had some big like apology and like come to Jesus moment of like,
Fuck Tory Lanez, bro.
yeah, I'm gonna see if I
I'm
can.
about
look
ready
that up.
to.
He better get off the sauce.
Are you
Yeah,
about
dude.
ready to drive to Toronto and duff him yourself?
I'm about to.
Drop a track. I'm not.
I'm just
Tory
so
Lanez.
sick of motherfuckers talking shit online, asking for things, getting what they asked for, and then I'm pulling up on you with all my boys.
Yeah.
Dope, bro.
Right.
That's so fucking tight. Do you have to do that because you're 5'4" and you're a bitch?
Yeah. And from what I
Like-
heard, the dude didn't say anything in the song that was like next level. Like I
Like
gotta
disrespect.
fucking
Yeah, that shit really rattles me.
I know, and I've always said on this podcast, I'm a big Tory Lanez fan of his music.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't think I would like Tory Lanez in person
Right.
as a
person.
as a human.
As
a friend.
He seems like one of those. He seems like one of those people that is willing to like do shit for the gram.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
I never really fuck with those type
Hell
of people.
nah.
But they tend to have success in the business these days, which is what he's been doing, which that's what I mean. Like what you said, Dax, more power to you if you're willing to be that person and get your business up, whatever, at least be willing to deal with the consequences.
Yes.
Like when Royce, check your ass.
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah, exactly. And this dude's been doing this bullshit, and he hasn't done that to anyone else. Probably because he knows he's about to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Why the fuck? And he picked him when he was alone and everything else.
Yeah, I think he was,
That
by, he
shit's
was by
whack.
himself. Yeah. I agree.
You're a whack person.
Mm-hmm.
And the
And
whole
honestly, if you're a whack person, I don't fucking like your music.
and the whole that's what I mean by the type of person, the whole filming it too. If you really felt some type of way and felt like I gotta go check this dude, the fact that you gotta put it on camera then too
Exactly.
is the new
That's
age
clown
fucking
shit, man.
corny shit.
Exactly.
Corny.
Like if you really felt a way,
Super
go man to
corny.
man and check this dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I would still, if I
Even
got
if
wind
you-
of, I would be like, what are you doing?
Even if you want to jump this dude with all your boys, you don't want to jump him because you want to beat his ass and you're mad. You want to jump him so you can get views and
Yeah.
you can record it.
Yeah, you did this so everyone could see you doing this.
Yeah.
That's that lame shit.
Come on, bro.
You probably
You're a
of
fucking dork.
someone in his crew was probably waving his belts in the air too.
Probably.
I feel bad for Dax, bro. He's probably shitting his pants. That shit's terrifying. All right. So before we get off this, get to the sticks. By the way, subscribe, hit the bell,
As well.
hit the thumbs up. All that shit does honestly go a long way.
Comment,
We
comment.
appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Yep.
Shout out anyone that's stuck around for the
Yeah.
whole live stream. This is the first time we did it. We'll talk to Mo, gather the info afterwards. But maybe we'll do this every time if it was fun for people.
Yeah.
I don't really see why not.
Right.
But I had one more topic. It's a golf topic, so I don't know if you'll be up on it too, but I know Dax is up on
And
it.
stream.
and Mo's up on it, and you can take the information in and figure out how you feel about it. You know? So there was the big thing in the golf world this week was Matt Kuchar and the caddy situation.
Hear about this?
And so I guess, and Mo or Dax jump in if I'm missing something, because I didn't even write down like all the specifics. But basically, in a nutshell, a few months ago or a little while ago, Kuchar won a tournament, won 1.3 million was his prize money.
Wait, hold the fuck up.
Damn, I already fucked up.
Well, you just missed a huge point, and that was that Kuchar didn't use his own caddy.
Yeah, I was gonna get.
Oh,
to that.
sorry,
No,
but
you're good.
I mean that he didn't have his own caddy, so he used a local caddy that works at this course and caddies for people every day.
So he about to pay his ass.
So and like the typical, so a typical caddy gets like 10% of the winnings. Like a tour caddy.
Yeah.
When they get local guys, there's no like set number, but everyone, from the sounds of it, from PGA people, whatever, they get significantly less because there's just a lot less expenses and risk or whatever that they got to cover. They're not helping the player
And it's not like
quite as much.
I mean, it's their job, but they're not traveling with this dude every tournament.
You can you could be like, bro, I'll give you $1,000.
Right. So they get significantly less. So before the tournament, Kuchar, I think, told the guy, I've seen a couple of different numbers, but he was like, I will pay you, was it 3 or 4,000? I've seen 4, I've seen 3.
4,000 was the number that he said he would pay him if he won. And then it was like if
Or
I
was
get,
it top? I don't.
or it was a top 10,
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
maybe.
Still,
Yeah.
wow.
And then there was, if
top
he
10,
makes the
and then
cut,
it was make the
3,000,
cut and whatever,
and
I'll
missed
give
the
you,
cut, it was like 1,500 or
yeah, I'll
something.
give you $1,000 or whatever. So
And so they agreed, and caddy does all this, like caddies for him for the 4 days. Kuchar wins 1.3 mil and throws in an extra 1,000 as a bonus, so gives the caddy $5,000. And then I guess like a certain amount of time passes, not a lot, and the caddy reaches out to Kuchar's agent and says he feels slighted. And basically, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And I think he did it. I think the caddy did everything in a very respectful manner. Said basically he felt taken advantage of and slighted, and asked for like fair compensation, which he thought would be around like $50,000. And I think, I don't remember the exact timeline, but Kuchar's agent basically said, you've gotten what's fair. And there was a certain point in there where Kuchar gave him an extra $15,000. I don't remember what exactly sparked that.
I'm pretty sure so
I thought it was after he asked.
After it went public?
No.
But after he asked.
After he asked.
He gave him $15,000.
I think that
See
was
if you can look
after
that up.
he was getting like
Publicly?
executed. Yeah.
Look
for
that up.
being
See
a
if
cheap
you can
ass.
find out, Moe-T.
So he won the tournament, gave him his $4,000 that they agreed upon, gave him that extra 1,000. The L2 can was what they call the caddy. He went and said he got slighted, felt like he got slighted. Then other people picked this story up and said like, this is crazy. Like, this is like, wow, you're cheap type shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I think what
you're
happened
the
is
cheapest motherfucker. And then like people on tour and on the senior tour, people were saying, okay, in the golf world, this is what you tip your caddy after a round, especially when you win the tournament and you make a 1.3 million. 50 grand isn't shit. That's like no money.
I think what broke it was Tom Gillis, who's like known for like kind of whistleblowing and like standing up for people and calling shit out on the tour. I think he was told by the caddy or someone close to the caddy, and eventually before some tournament, he tweeted something like, if Kuchar wins this week, hopefully he pays his caddy more than $3,000 or something like that. And I think that's how it started, everything. And then it became really public. Basically now, as it sits today, eventually, first when it became public and a shitstorm, Kuchar stood by what he did, said this is a non-story, whatever, kept getting killed, and now he's issued an apology and gave the dude $50,000, and also like gave some money to the tournament.
The
to, like,
15,000 was before.
before it went public.
Before it went public.
Okay, so after the caddy asked, And from what I heard too, the caddy said to 15,000, he said, keep your money.
Keep your money.
Yeah, because that was. And what did he end up actually giving him? Because they settled on something.
50, I think.
Was it 50?
I think he gave him another 45
Yeah, I think it was.
in
50.
addition to
that
the
much.
Dang, he didn't even just give him another 50.
No. So
This motherfucker.
and if for those of you that are really interested in this, our friend Gary Bissell does a podcast.
Gary,
Bomb and
busy.
Gouge, the Bomb and Gouge podcast. It's
Bomb
a
and
golf
Gouge.
podcast, and he talks for 20 minutes about this today, and he knows people somewhat close to the situation and did an interesting podcast. But I know you've been following it. I want to, and I haven't talked to you about it yet, Dax, so I want to get your thoughts.
God, I got hair in my mouth. I think so. You know, having talked about contracts and shit before,
I was just about to say they agreed.
You had an agreement, correct? And I that's that. That's that. You know, that it is what it is. And okay, here's the thing. So if I can formulate my thoughts enough to explain this correctly, I think it's whack. Period. I think it's cheap.
On
and
Kuchar.
Yes, on Kuchar. I think it's bullshit. You should want to give this dude money. And I was talking to Gary about this too. You have your own caddy every other day. And this dude, the players will argue that this guy knows my game and can help me manage the course because he knows my game. And El Toucan doesn't know his game. But this dude works at that course every day for however many years and caddies and gives suggestions. To me, knowing the course like the back of your hand would be a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And as Gary was saying on his podcast, you give him 50 grand, you're still 80 grand short of what you would regularly pay your caddy.
Right.
For a win. So you're saving 80 grand for all that knowledge of the course. Anyone could tell me, use your 7-iron to hit this shot 155. If I don't want to hit my 7-iron because I feel like I want to hit my 8-iron, I'm going to do what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So that's whack to me. And then the whacker part to me is that Kuchar, if you make this agreement and you're so confident in like, well, I kept my end of the bargain and you made it, well then stick with it and don't get bullied into paying this motherfucker. And it shouldn't matter that people think you're cheap and people think you're whack. That's what comes with being cheap and being whack. Accept it.
To that point, what stood out to me right away to know that it was like fucked up is when the caddy came and asked for more before it was even public.
Yeah.
And Kuchar was like, here's 15,000.
Right.
Here's 3 times more than I gave you right away just from me asking for it.
Yeah.
That tells me that in the back of your head, you knew you
Yeah.
shorted this dude.
Yeah.
Like you took advantage of him.
Yes.
And so that outs you right away to me. And then the fact that like other PGA people weren't really speaking, which I do understand not speaking up because in today's age, why even enter the fucking shitstorm?
Right.
Like, so I get why other PGA tour players might not speak up in defense
Well, and
of
you got to
Kuchar.
play with this dude.
Yeah.
and,
That's
what I was
you know.
thinking.
So whatever the case may be, I understand either way not speaking up, but it's like if any players had done this on a regular basis, I would have thought some of them would speak up a little bit.
Yeah.
And nobody did.
I thought I heard back when Tiger, who was his famous caddy? His original one, I guess.
Stevie Williams.
I have no idea.
I don't
I
know.
think it was
I
Steve
guess-
Williams.
Allegedly, I heard back in the day that he was paying like 50 grand, and he like that was not close to what he deserved.
Percentage wise.
Right. So
Right.
he ended up not going. But like,
Well,
come on.
yeah, and Kuchar has made $45 million in career earnings just from golf. That's not, I would assume, with endorsements and everything else.
I think
he
it's
has.
just earnings from golf.
Just
But it's
golf.
also probably like prize money, which who knows how much of that gets like fucking maybe 50% of it. might
I'm
get
sure.
I heard one time Phil Mickelson won 2 tournaments overseas and of the prize money had to give up 61% of it.
Jesus.
So
That's a lot.
so of the prize money he made
Better
30,
win.
Yeah.
Damn.
But, well, anyways, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, 46 mil I think is his career earnings.
Yeah, which I mean, you
And
can
probably
say what
plenty
you want,
more in
and
endorsements.
You can say what you want about the agreement. Fine, whatever. You're you're an agreement person. I agree with that.
You're an agreement person.
Like, I mean, I do.
agree
I
with
definitely
that.
agree with that. But this isn't fucking the agreement in a bad way. This is just wanting to be a good person and like do the right thing.
Right.
You just made $1.3 million in 4 days for playing golf.
Yeah.
Yo,
For like having a blast. And I don't care how like much of a grind golf gets to be and all this bullshit.
stop.
I don't give a fuck. Like, you can play football where you're actually like killing your body and
Taking
killing
years
yourself
off
day
your
by
life.
yeah. So, and that's still playing football and you get to make money for that shit. I'll take that job. So I just think like it just comes down to me, just be a better fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like, give this dude some money for nothing.
Yeah.
You just made 1.3 million.
See, I've been going so it's actually because it's such a small thing, like it doesn't matter.
I think there's two sides of the story.
It doesn't matter at all in my life, and I've been going back and forth on this so just to even try to figure out how I feel about it. And like to me, it's obvious. It's like a known. To me, it's obvious. Kuchar's a cheapskate. Like that's clear as day to me.
Yeah.
Like just anybody that's a somewhat generous person, whatever. If you have a caddy, you go play in a golf tournament, you make $1.3 million that week. I don't care what an agreement was, any of that. I'm breaking you off with a nice piece of cash, and it's not $5,000.
And low key, I'm just so hyped that I'm like, good shit, bro. I had no expectations to win this. I didn't have my caddy. The odds were against me.
Dude.
Like, let's fucking.
Yeah, I'm so hyped and like, even if the caddy didn't do anything but carry his bag,
Right.
I'm just like, dude, like, cause that's you're the only two people out there on the course.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I'm like, hey, like, I'm breaking you off. And I think that's what everyone's talking about with like right and wrong, moral, like just be a good dude, that type of shit. And I agree with that. Like if it was one of my friends, if Kuchar was one of my friends, I would be like, bro, come on. Like, you got to give this dude more. Like, what are you doing? Where I start to get iffy about it is when it comes to all the social media justice. It's like, because that's where the business of it does mean something to me of this dude agreed upon this deal, shitty as it was. And then in hindsight to be like, oh, it's kind of what we talked about with like other people's pockets. Oh, you made 1.3 mil? Oh, let me get more then. But if you didn't, if you missed the cut, then cool. That's where it starts to get tricky with me is like, I don't disagree with everything you said about Kuchar being shitty for not giving him more. Yeah. And I would, and anybody else would. And you even referenced like we've talked about contracts and stuff on here before. I agree, like, because a contract is a contract and an agreement is an agreement. I've talked with like Apollo, we talked to our other artists about it. Like, yeah, technically in our deal with artists, which is normally 3 years, like an artist could just blow up out of nowhere, generate $10 million of money in their music and not, now they'd still, because it's percentage, they'd still, like, as opposed to this wasn't a fixed, this was a fixed thing. So no matter what, ours is percentage. So it's still beneficial because it's a percentage.
Way more beneficial.
But at the same time, like I've told these guys, there is like a handshake deal where if we're getting fucking filthy rich off your shit, we're not going to fuck you over.
Right.
Like with the Cyrus and Marcus shit, it's like nobody was getting filthy rich.
Right.
And it's still a percentage. So it brings me back to the agreement then. And it's like, dude, I feel for you that anybody else, if you would have caddied for anybody else in this situation, they would have given you more money. Like they would have been more generous for you. Yeah. I feel for you. I also like hate the fact that this got brought out so publicly and basically social media justice it's almost extortion.
Yeah, it is.
Like, hey, you have this much money. Give it to this guy who doesn't.
Because the thing is, the thing that seals it for me is if Kuchar wouldn't have made anything.
If he would have missed the cut.
If he would have missed the cut.
This guy would have got $1,500. That was the deal.
Right. So no one has a problem with that at that point.
Right. It's because he won and made all this much money. So
yeah, but because he won, most people would agree that he had a little. You can't. Okay, so this Gary, Gary talked about this too. Just real quick. I don't even know. But he won by one shot. You don't think L2 Can gave him one
That's what Gary and I were
shot
talking about
of
too.
information, worth of information that day about that course or that weekend,
Right.
4 days?
Right.
Like, for sure.
And that's where I agree with what Mo said at the beginning. It's two different conversations. One conversation is Kuchar's a fucking cheapskate and shitty for paying the caddy out what he did.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree with that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then there's a second conversation of how do we feel about this whole go public to in your opinion, right or wrong,
Yeah.
and get money from this guy. Because like I was talking to Gary too today, and I was like, one of the things that like from an emotional level, I'm totally cool with, because I do personally think someone that's made 46 million, if it was me, I'm helping the dude that hasn't. Like, yes. But from a logical, like, societal perspective, I don't like that. I think Kuchar, because one of the things that crucified him, and rightly so, was, I think I wrote it down somewhere, whatever he was quoted as saying to defend himself when it first went public is, he basically said $5,000 is a hell of a week for L2 Can. And like, I hate that sentiment of, oh, he doesn't make that much money, so $5,000 a week for a week of work is good work for him. It's true, but I don't think that should be why you make the decisions you make.
No,
I think
black and white.
no
That's
matter
black and
what
white.
this dude makes, whether he's a millionaire or broke as hell, you pay him with the job. You know what I mean? That shouldn't. That being said, I don't like that we can all agree on that, and we can all say that Kuchar's shitty for doing that, but then we have no problem saying 50,000's nothing for Matt Kuchar. Give it to him.
Yeah,
I don't
I
like
agree.
telling
I don't
other
like
people
that.
what to do with their money when it's
Yeah,
not
I don't
like,
like that. Because at that point, where does it stop? You can't make a deal with anybody at that point. It's
you can
literally
make a
all
deal,
about,
and then
Okay,
it's like, what
but
does
yes, but
social
then-
media?
but
What
then
does
the
social media
public-
think about
But then
it?
the
I know.
public makes the deal for you.
I know.
Yeah, but that's part of like social
That's how it
media.
goes.
It is, I
Like,
know.
if you agree, if you think that 5,000 is good, then stick with your fucking 5,000 and don't back yourself into a corner and go
That's
with
what
your
I'm
tail
saying.
I
between
agree.
your legs.
I agree, and that's what shows you that it wasn't good.
Exactly.
This guy's such an experienced caddy and knows, like, you know, he seems to be the senior caddy around the country club or whatever it was. Shouldn't he have the foresight to be like, let's make a better percentage deal before this even starts?
He should.
$5,000, dude, like,
He should.
for winning the tournament. That before the tournament started, that didn't seem weird to you.
I
and,
agree.
and I think, and unfortunately, that's why I do think Kuchar's a cheapskate and his true colors showed, because I would guess that the caddy basically just assumed if he wins this tournament,
I think so, too.
he's gonna break me. If he wins 1.3 million,
Yeah.
And from the sounds of it, this caddy is a good dude, a stand-up, blue-collar dude, and probably would have been happy if Kuchar gave him fucking 4%.
Right.
Like, I think he would have
Well,
been happy. It's,
I guess
it's
what
the
about-
fact that he got like such
And
a
he
small.
knows what people
Yes,
get for
yes.
that shit.
I guess what about this though? That let's just say, okay, just for the sake of argument, that Kuchar was looking for a caddy that he didn't have to pay more than $5,000 for. Let's just say that.
Right, I
Then
know.
we're having
How-
a cheap argument.
Right.
Well, but how does he go about that?
No, I
then
know.
in this day and age.
No, I know. Like he got he found someone that agreed to caddy for this much, and
Right.
unfortunately for this dude, he just assumed that this guy's a good enough dude that if he wins 1.3 million,
Yeah, I
he's gonna
think
break
that's
me
what
off
it
with
is.
blah, blah.
I mean, it'd be hard for this guy who makes $200 a day, they said, or whatever, to have a professional say, okay, if I get top 10, I'm giving you $5,000. It's like, fuck. Well, I'm not gonna let him go give $5,000 to some other caddy. I can definitely use the $5,000.
Yeah.
But it's got to be impossible for him to think that, okay,
Agreed.
the small chance that this dude wins a tournament, he doesn't fucking
I totally
give
agree.
me some money.
And that's where I
So I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm taking this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I guess like there's just, I mean, it'd be hard. It's
But do you-
still hard for me to be like,
Do you
all right,
take
if
it?
I get 5,000, like I just have to accept it.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But do you take it to golf
There's
now
no
though, because
fucking
you're a
way.
stand-up guy? Like, you made that deal. Like at what point does it become wrong to take it public?
I mean,
at that
I
point?
agree that I don't
did
think
he take it public or did it go public?
Well, that's
No,
what I was,
That's a big thing.
He had to have.
I don't know, because if he
kept it behind closed
like
doors. but-
TMZ hears everything, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like if he hit up the agent,
Yeah.
I think they.
I'm sure it
I
got
think they, without directly going public, the caddy tried to.
He tried.
But not in like
it
some
would help
super
him get money. Yeah.
like because I even like I said about Tom Gillis, and I think that's Gary's boy.
Yeah.
He's known to be the dude that will do this for you, and they got it into his ears, and that's where like I almost, and I'm sure from everything I hear, he's a great dude. It doesn't necessarily sit right with me that Tom Gillis would do that.
I'm pretty sure from everything I hear too, everyone knows Kuchar's cheap as fuck.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
everyone on tour
Right.
knows that shit.
And that's why I
a
say
common
it's
thing.
two separate issues. Like everybody understands that he's cheap and he should have paid more to this dude.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is if you take it a step further and get beyond the fact that that was a bad deal and the caddy should have never taken that deal
I
to
agree with
begin
you
with,
there. Also.
then how do we create deals with people?
But
at that point?
that's the thing too, is I wouldn't even say the caddy never should have taken that deal.
No, he definitely
I would have
should've.
done.
No, he should've
I would have done
taken
it. Yeah, 'cause
exactly
it
what the
worked.
caddy did. If it was like, hey, if I go back and try to negotiate some shit, he might say fuck you, blah
Yeah.
blah. So I'm gonna just do this. And if
Yes.
but that's where you go the next level of, then you just got to sit back and be like, this dude's a fucking cheapskate, whatever.
Exactly.
But then who am I to say? You just have to sit back. That's what social media is these days. Like he decided to take it, and that's why I've gone back and forth on this so much. Is it's like, if I agree that Kuchar's a cheapskate and shit, then why do I have a problem with somebody going public and saying Kuchar's a cheapskate? And here's why.
I think I don't know. I just think it's probably your values that somebody would go public to get their money or whatever. You know, like make it like a thing instead of just accept it and just
because
like,
it's not even their like if he
But-
didn't pay him what they agreed upon, I'd definitely be like, go public and get your money. But it's not
Yes.
your money. It's Kuchar's
But-
money.
right.
my thing is though, like social media is meant for opinions. Like
Right.
people are going to have opinions on everything. But where I super agree with Dags is because they had an agreement, he did not have. Dude could have went public, and
Yeah.
everyone can be like, "Fuck you." You could, yeah.
And Kuchar
everything
could have
that
stood
happened,
behind it.
and
That's
you
the
have
hit
to
you
stand
take.
behind it.
Yeah.
That was up to him. He allowed social media to
Yeah.
change his mind,
And that's where
he
I
didn't
think,
have to do that.
And that's where I think at the end of the day,
That's very true.
After
yeah.
I've gone like each way to each end with this shit of the argument, I do think that's where I kind of end up is like, okay, as much as I hate social media mob mentality,
Yeah.
Kuchar obviously did something wrong, gave in, and that shows that he did something wrong.
Or
It just
Even-
kind
I don't
of
even know.
Even if he didn't think he did anything wrong,
Exactly.
he could have
And
thought
I
the
guess that-
5,000 was
yeah.
fair.
Exactly.
But everyone was in my mentions,
and
like
it doesn't. I guess
harassing me.
I don't want to
just want
say.
it to
I don't
go
want to
away.
say that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Get away.
and I don't want to say it shows that he did something wrong because, like you said, he could just be like, go away, and that's why I play devil's advocate and I argue the other side because it does worry me the day that happens that. Oh, because Twitter says this and has it, because this one I think most people can agree, the caddy should have got paid more.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, regardless of the agreement,
Yeah.
it's shitty that like Kuchar's a cheapskate.
That's just a shitty
We all
person.
agree.
Yeah.
What happens when it's like, no, people don't really know what this situation was, but everybody just on face, because we all know situations where like on face value something might be like super shitty, but if you really know the situation, you know all the things that go into it behind the scenes
Yeah.
and why it was what it was.
I think
But somebody could do this. It's a shitstorm on Twitter. Everyone says no, go, and you do it just to give in and get them out of your way. That's scary.
Right.
Well, it's like that with everything in the sense of not many people know what's really happening for shit that they stand up for or that they don't stand up for.
Yeah.
Like it's way easier to get a mob with short, concise points. This is happening.
Yep.
Help me.
Yep.
Instead of, well, this and this and this. People don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, especially in social media where you have everything condensed, it is the mob platform.
Yeah.
It's like 140 characters, 280, boom. And like people go off article headlines instead of reading the article.
Yeah.
That's a thing, you know, but it's always been a thing though. Even before social media, people would just pick up the paper, read the headline. Oh my God, this is happening.
Yeah. It's like we talk about with record labels in general and stuff like that of it's always easy for an artist to be like, a record label's fucking me over.
Yeah.
What's never taken into account is where were you before you signed to the record label and who are you now? If someone just looks at like a 360 deal where a record label's taking all this shit from you, Joe Schmo on the internet just looks at the numbers of it or whatever and says, that's a shitty deal. Well, you have no idea what that's done for the artist, like what they would have been, blah, blah, blah. But you can just look at that and say this. But to your point, record labels know what they do and they stand by their shit.
Right.
Yeah. Because it stands up in court.
Right.
It's a legal agreement. We agree to this.
And at the end of the day, the next artist still wants to sign, like, because they know what it is. And they want to sign that deal.
And the thing is, if L2Can went on Twitter, they had their agreement, he paid him $5,000, he went on Twitter, he was like, this is bullshit. Kuchar's a douche. Like, he really fucked me over. This is exactly, like, he listed numbers and did all that shit.
Yeah.
That could have gained no traction, let's say, and nothing would have happened with it, and Kuchar would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have just, like, randomly been like, oh, I saw your tweet.
Yeah.
But he did it because he got gang jumped on Twitter by everybody.
Yeah.
And but that's fine. Because in that instance, to me, that's fine because he has every right to tweet that out.
Right.
Like, that's the same thing as waitresses tweeting, this dude gave me a 000 tip around Christmas time. And everyone's like, wow, what a fucking dick.
Because you just expect.
And it's whack. Obviously, you don't know. Maybe that waitress was being a real
Good point.
dickhead and all this stuff.
point.
You don't know that. However,
that's social media.
Yeah.
That's why when I see these situations, I'm always trying to like, fuck it. Like, Glow gets pissed at me because I'm always reading way into shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's totally unnecessary. And it's like, yo, you're doing the most. But sometimes it is like that. Oh, that was a great example.
yeah.
Oh,
sometimes-
0 tip. That's all you see. You didn't see the fucking waitress doing an absolutely terrible fucking job.
And then you add on to that, like the waitress thing. It's like some people just have the standard of no matter how shitty the waitress treats me, I'm tipping her like at least 50% or 15% no matter what. And like other people are like, nah, I'm not tipping her
I'm tipping
anything.
based off the service.
Or other people are like 5% or like blah,
or
blah,
some
blah.
people are like,
everybody
I don't
has
give a fuck how
different
dope she
standards.
is. I'm not paying her.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
and it's all just
everything,
based on the eye of the beholder.
It's
it has
never
nothing.
everything.
And
there's
that's
no
what
right
Q
answer.
said is
never
like,
all or
that's
everything,
social media, and that's all that's happening is people sharing their
but that's
opinions.
what gets the
And that
most.
waitress still has every right to go on her Twitter and
I
say
agree.
that shit.
I agree.
Because I would do the same thing.
Yep.
If
And
I
then-
just Kuchar, wow. If I just Kuchared for a caddy, if I just caddied for some PGA player, first of all, I think that was dope.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would be like, oh, he won. That's better
here we
for
go.
my business too.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, now people want to play with him at that course if they ever don't have their caddy again.
Yeah.
And by the way, he was a dick and he paid me $5,000.
Yeah.
You can do, like,
So,
I get it because it is a legal agreement, but you could be like, yo, that was kind of bullshit though.
And
you know what I'm saying?
and
Like,
it's true.
Exactly.
And
then
it's
Exactly.
true.
in
And
the
you shouldn't
hopes-
have to
in
hesitate
the
to tell the
hopes
truth.
That people are like, yo, that is bullshit. Yo, that is bullshit.
And
And,
it happens.
hopefully I get a little bit more money.
And
it
that's
worked.
that's
Agreed.
why, like, I think at the end of the day, even though I dissected every fucking possible aspect of it, I think you're right at the end of the day. I think it's like, I hate social media mobs, but at the end of the day, I think they got this one right.
In certain situations.
Does it
it's
make
fine.
does it make doing it feel any better to me? Not necessarily. Like, I don't like the way it happened. I'm sure L2K doesn't like the way it happened.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the
Yo,
real shit about
But
it.
Get off
we
Twitter.
don't really know.
Get off Instagram.
I don't even know
You
if
don't have
that's-
to look at it.
I don't even think if he tweeted something, whatever, but like, it sounds like he went to his agent. That's better than
I think he did it the
tweeting
right way.
something.
I think he
to
did
me.
it the right way. But and I guess that's where I initially looked into it is like, I don't think I would do that. If I got what I agreed to, even though I'd definitely feel away if a guy won 1.3 and I was on his bag and I got 5,000. I would
Then
definitely feel away. But I don't think I would go to him and be like, give me more.
I probably wouldn't either, but I would go to
You
Twitter
go
and
to
be like,
somebody.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
yo,
I
this
would
is some
really make
bullshit.
sure like none of the people
Right.
that I know like this dude either.
Right. And in that case, you can probably look at L2K and say he actually did it more respectably than I would.
Exactly.
He went behind closed doors at first and blah, 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 and tried to get it that way, and they said no. And then it ended up going public. So I think, the more I've thought about it,
it's just like your friends wanting to go to a restaurant. If that place sucks, you're not going to sit there and be like, yeah, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go this,
Right. Or
it's
if they like,
I'm gonna be like, don't go to this place, and I'll make it public so everyone can see it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
exactly, because what do you want out of it? It's just, it's human nature, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I did this for you, but you ain't, you gave me what we said, but
Yeah.
come on, bro.
Yeah, I think just stick to the Kuchar won 1.3 this tournament with this dude on his bag and gave him 5,000. Yeah. I think what doesn't sit right with me is when it starts going to the whole like, you play golf for a living, you've won 46 million, blah blah, because none of that matters. Like
People do that all the time with every sport.
yeah, just like L2K's weekly salary doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
Like pay him for the job.
Right.
Like I don't, just because this guy's rich and this guy's poor, or this guy's poor and this guy's rich, like none of that should matter.
Mm-hmm.
What just happened in this job? Did he get paid what he should have?
Well, I don't think
so.
it does matter in that context a lot, but I think people are just saying it in terms of like,
It makes it easier.
this is how much money these people make to play golf. And this specific weekend, he made 1.3 million alone
With this guy.
and he paid him 5,000. So like the 45 million, like he shouldn't have to go back and pay the local caddy when he was a thousandaire, like back taxes or whatever. Like, oh man, I won a tournament when I made $1,500. I should have gave him it's not that. It's just that, okay, this is the pedestal that these guys are on. This is what kind of money they make with each win of these tournaments.
Well, I guess all I mean though is, what if it wasn't Kuchar? What if it was someone that this was the first tournament he ever won, and his career earnings were 1.3 million? Would your opinion on it change at all?
No,
I don't think so.
It wouldn't for me either. And I guess that's all I mean. Is like career earnings aside, but
right.
But to your point, it's like it makes it easier to be like, this dude's a rich fucking cheapskate prick.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yeah.
And again, he didn't have to do it.
No,
he
and
could have just fucking
exactly
got off
and
social
live
media.
with it.
Yeah,
And-
tough line.
But that's the thing to me is
If you really like,
gain a service from this guy, if you want to drive a shitty car and live very modestly and do that stuff on your own, hell yeah, be cheap.
Yeah.
That's even cooler to me. I would like to have $1 million and live in the same house I live in right now. I wouldn't, but you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. If you are so inclined, do that. But don't not help somebody else.
And that's the thing. I think he did show his true colors along the way with like the 15,000 when the guy asked, like, if you really stood by what you did, why even before it was public did you just, oh yeah, here's 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the fact that after all this, and he issued like his apology was good, like it came off sincere and well, even though it's always tough to really buy anybody that has already doubled down on how they feel.
Yeah.
Like he just did it to save face, but it read well, blah blah blah, and you still only brought it to 50,000, and then you also like gave money to the event and shit like that, bro. If you really feel how you did and feel bad about the way you treated this guy and what you did, break him off, bro.
well, that's why I asked you when you said he gave him 45 to make it. I'm like, he didn't even just give him 50.
Or like in that situation, bring it up to the typical tour caddy at that point. Like you fucked up. Now you got to go the extra mile.
I think it's more that. I think that he paid him 50. That's fair. If he would have done it at the
originally,
beginning. But now you're like in hot water.
He should have done that
give
first.
Her,
And that's
now you give him a tip, and now you got to tip.
And dude, and I think that's where I do tend to believe, based off everything I've read and heard, that L2K and the caddy is like just wants a relatively fair. Like I bet you. So 130,000 would have been the tour caddy 10%, which everyone agrees didn't need to be paid. Like it could be a fair amount less. Yeah. And everyone on tour kind of thought 50,000 was a fair whatever. I bet you if in the moment Kuchar would have given this dude 30,000, which is still far less than the 50,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But
30,000, I bet you
it's fun.
It's a non-issue.
It might be like
absolutely.
Yeah, like I was expecting a little more, but
like hell yeah, 30 grand.
30 grand.
And
But he gave him 5.
The general public too would be like, I mean, he could have given him a little bit more, but we're not really going to stand behind this as far as like
at least 10.
Yeah.
God damn.
$5,000, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even 10. I'd be like,
That's hard to imagine, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, personally,
Yeah.
doing that, put yourself in either one of those situations.
Yo,
it's hard to be like.
think of at the bowling alley with the fucking pull tabs.
Yeah.
What were we about to do with those winnings for grinding, pulling those fucking tabs? Spend it on everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's
Like,
just one of those things.
put it-
Yeah.
it's like,
It is the difference between it's kind of a generous person versus someone that's
but
not.
you don't owe it. You don't have
Exactly.
to.
And that's what I mean.
And
That's why
exactly.
it's generosity. It's
Yeah,
not
you don't
It's
have
not
to.
only, and that's why, like, not to beat a dead horse, but that's why it doesn't sit right with me, because it's somebody else's money.
Mhm.
It's not owed to you.
Right.
But bro.
But it's wet.
Yeah.
It's just wet.
Yeah, it's be more
It's very
generous.
wet.
Yeah, you can
know.
still point out the fact that you need, like,
Be cheap.
you're
be
being
whatever,
a cheapskate. Yeah.
Accept it and don't give in to the
Yeah.
pressure.
If you're going to be a cheapskate, you got to be willing to be known as a cheapskate.
Yeah.
So it's out there that you're a cheapskate now. You either be willing to sit with that, which he wasn't.
Yeah.
He finally gave in. Otherwise, sit with it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it would have blown over at some point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably by now.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Until he won the next time.
Yeah.
It would have blown over.
At the Phoenix Open, I guess on the 16th, the rowdy shit, they were chanting "Pay your caddy."
Yeah.
Get 'em.
See, fuck
But it's
that.
stuff
But
like
that's
that.
what people are. That's what people do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're
Yeah,
People
and that's
just fucking
and that's what
heckle.
I mean. Is it's
That's
like
the
this
hecklers.
situation? It's okay with me because I firmly believe it was right.
Yeah.
Like the right thing happened in the end.
Yeah.
All right.
It's hard to set rules and shit based off of what I think is right though. Because what happens when it's wrong and that shit happens?
Everyone's
Also, caddying's fucking got to be hard.
yeah.
Like being one of
Or
those.
everyone would be a fucking caddy. Just
do you mean?
follow,
Caddy.
you would just think you just
Dude.
follow a fucking golfer, hold their golf clubs, but no.
It
I think
takes-
that's part of the
it
problem
takes
with
you-
the story, though, is people they don't understand. Like the general public,
Yeah.
doesn't understand what a caddy actually does.
I thought a caddy
I don't
knew
mean
the
it-
courses, like even more than the game. It was just like, this is gonna do this. When
They probably do. That's part of their job is to study and shit.
yeah,
But like
Study
they
the
can't-
courses and
no
study
matter
their
how
player.
much they
Yeah.
study, you can't know as much as a guy that works there every day of the week.
Right.
This is the course. He doesn't
Right.
go to any other course.
Well, the thing is, though, he's probably got more course wise than what Kuchar's caddy did,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have anything tailored to Kuchar.
Right.
Like he doesn't caddy for Kuchar, so he doesn't know his game.
That's what we were saying at the beginning, but I
Right.
still
But it's
think
better to know
I
it.
still
But
think
but I feel
I'd
like
rather
people
know the
don't
course.
know that though. Like that caddies are like that's why players prefer their own caddies is
Yeah.
because they know their game. I don't think that's like a well-known thing that people they just see caddies out there carrying the bag for
Yeah.
the players and being like, "That's a caddy."
Well, and yeah,
Right.
and that's why I like that the truth. I didn't know this to be the case, but it makes sense to me that a local caddy gets paid that much less than a tour
Yeah.
caddy because they don't do nearly what a tour caddy would
Right.
do for you that
Right.
knows your game and all.
And
that
it's
shit.
real easy to be like, this guy knew the course like backwards and forwards or whatever. Like, okay, maybe he did.
It's like you said,
Maybe
guys, on
he-
a golf course. How many times, if somebody that really knows the course gives you a tip, you know your game and how you hit the ball. Like,
Okay.
how often are you?
See, I'm on the other side of this as
You really take it into account?
No. Well, okay. What I'm saying though is if a guy knows, if me and you are playing and you're on my bag, we
Yeah.
play the most together.
Yeah.
Or I play the most with you. And let's say we've been doing this for like 10 years now and you know my game great. And you're like 155-yard shot, you want to put it on the right side of the green. And I think I want to put it in the center of the green. I'm putting it in the center of the green.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like whatever. What would be helpful is if you were like, okay, this green slopes right to left,
That's
and
what
it's
I'm
gonna come back.
saying.
So if you put it up on the right side of the green, it's gonna
Exactly.
do this. But if you put it in the middle, it's gonna do this. You play your own shot. I think that would be super useful.
That's what I thought it was, and that's to Mo's point. That's like the other part of what I think people don't realize that caddies do. So it is
Yeah.
very helpful to know a course
Yeah.
and know where the ball is
Yeah.
going to land. Like, okay, you can hit it around the fucking trees, but if you hit it here and it lands here, it'll do this. That
Well, and that's
has
part
to
of
be helpful.
that's
and
part
you
of the
still
thing.
have to make the shot.
And that's
Agreed.
part of the thing that's actually interesting to the story to me. And I know it technically probably shouldn't matter to, and it doesn't matter to most people, but I think that's actually a big part of the discussion. There are some caddies that just carry the bag. Like, I think Jack Nicklaus has some famous quote about his caddy where he pretty much says, carry my bag and shut up.
Yeah.
And if that's the case,
and I'll pay you.
Honestly, if this dude just carried the bag and shut up, that changes things a little bit to me. I still am breaking this dude off.
Yes.
Like, if I come into 1.3 million, I'm breaking this dude off with something, period. But it does change the conversation of, like, all of a sudden $5,000 for carrying a bag for 4 days doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah,
Well,
if I'm just carrying a bag for 4 days and someone breaks me off with $5,000, I'm like,
Right. But
fuck
but to Gary's point, if this dude did enough to gain this dude a stroke, which is what won him the tournament, and I don't know what second place got, but I'm sure it was hundreds of thousands of dollars difference.
And I'm sure he did. And like, that's the thing is.
And so if he did anything to gain him a stroke, then it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
And we don't know. That's the fucking crazy.
You don't know.
If
But
he
you-
did this,
but he
then that,
had
then if.
And that's
you know,
why- well,
I would
that's why I
assume
say-
so. Yeah,
and-
I would assume.
And
so.
I'm saying based off of this, even if he didn't,
Right.
I'm breaking him off.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
I mean,
I agree. with
and
you.
what I was gonna say before all that is being a caddy just physically is hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you're walking, it takes 4 hours to play a round of golf in a cart. You know, where you're driving to your ball, and Gary said, which I didn't even know this. He said a lot of local caddies carry 2 bags. They'll caddy for 2 people
Yeah.
Really?
because
I've
don't want to
seen that
pay
before.
them, break them off. So he'll
Like
get
double it up.
Yeah. So you're carrying 2 bags, whatever they weigh.
Heavy as fuck.
I mean, they're pretty heavy.
And awkward. Them bitches be moving.
Yeah, and it's on grass, and you're going up and down hills. It's not like you're
Yeah, those courses
walking on
they play
tile.
aren't
And
fucking
it's
gross.
always
Right.
hot
Exactly.
as hell.
Yeah.
Always.
So I mean, like physically,
No, it's work. It's
this
not-
dude's
yeah.
doing it. I mean, if he's doing it 5 days a week for a whole year, it's just hard.
Yeah. No, I think we beat that.
But
Yo, that was the illest golf fucking talk.
You're like, yeah, that wasn't
was
as
good.
bad as you thought it was gonna be.
No,
I
was it?
think it's cool though because no one thinks about that side of golf.
No.
You know, like
Hell
it's
no.
a totally different.
There are real people in it? It's fucking
Right.
weird.
It is funny to think about though. It's pretty easy for golfers to have like this squeaky clean image, like it's just that game, you know. And I'm sure there's plenty because Kuchar had a really nice guy reputation, like maybe not with the players who know him super well, I don't know, but to the public,
Yes.
Yeah.
super squeaky clean, nice guy reputation, blah blah blah. And it's like behind closed doors, he could be a fucking
Yeah.
bitch.
I bet it's a bunch of fucking players that like wish they could do that. and they're
Yeah.
like, no,
Dude,
I'm not- I know what will happen.
We talk about that. We talk about image and shit with hip hop, bro. Like not being what you portray in a different type of way and shit like that. It's so that's another thing where I always like when people get exposed for what they really are. If Kuchar's really a fucking cheapskate and he got exposed for that when he's been able to ride with this image of being this super thing more. But I do feel bad if he actually is like a pretty generous dude, gives to a lot of people, whatever. And then this is what
It's just hard to think.
Yeah.
Would he do
If
that?
you're a generous person and you're not giving so
I
much.
Probably
I
not
wouldn't
doing
think
it.
so. I
Yeah.
agree.
So
I
you're
told that
just
to
not.
Gary today. I was like, it sucks because we'll never know with anybody the good things you do. Because in Gary's podcast, he referenced like he could have been a hero to this guy, like and made
Yeah,
his life
changed his
whatever.
life, yeah.
And my thing is, we don't know how many times Kuchar has changed somebody's life because if you just paid him what you're supposed to pay him, no one's making that a news article. or
That
whatever.
goes back to the 30 or like the 25 or 30 grand versus 5 grand though. Like if he gives 30 grand, you're like, but you're not like,
You're not killing him.
Jesus, bro.
Yeah.
Like give him something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I mean, dude. If
So
you're,
like you might be like 30 grand. Oh, he's probably done a lot of good. I don't necessarily instantly think like,
right,
okay, this
but
dude's
5
just cheap
grand
as fuck.
and doubling down on the 5 grand.
Right.
Like no, that
I
was
said
legit. He,
5.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Like I can't give you the benefit of the doubt that you're doing good shit all the time with your money.
And now just because you fucked it up, even
Yeah.
if next time he gives this caddy $1 million,
like,
I'm gonna be
oh,
like,
yeah.
well, we know
That's
why
what
you
I
did
mean.
that.
That's what I mean. And now he's exposed. The fact that he only gave him 45 after that is like crazy. Whatever. Anyways,
Shout out Gary though. Got brought up 100 times.
you guys ready to get some food and play some FIFA?
Hell yeah.
Yep.
This shit was like a relatively short podcast, and then we brought up Matt
I was
Kuchar.
about to say, that shit been like 3 hours.
People are like, "Damn, I was trying to play some FIFA like half an hour ago." All right, this was episode 53. Thanks for everybody tuning into the live podcast. Let us know in the comments, whatever, if you guys like the live aspect.
Yeah.
Shout out to anybody that donated any type of cash for the super chat. This podcast, we don't really make any fucking money on or whatever, and there's a lot of equipment and time and shit that goes into it. So
don't be cheap.
Yeah, we actually did this segment just so you guys know where we stand on this shit. Generosity is awesome.
The Lord says.
We're about to go live on FIFA
Matt
right now.
Kuchar's
Just saying. But yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit for anyone. PS4.
YouTube, right?
We'll be streaming on YouTube.
Word. FIFA.
Should I give my
So hold on.
Okay.
Let's discuss this real quick for another 3 hours.
So Matt Kuchar.
So wait, he gave.
That was a great discussion, though.
Yeah, good. You kind of changed. Like I thought about it all day, and you kind of like put the nail in the coffin for me.
See, that's what's good is we had a discussion about it, and somebody changed their aspect rather than being like, you know what, your opinion sucks. Who cares?
I was really on the fence about it. Like I was at one point in the day, I was on this side, and then I heard some new information. I was on this side, but you kind of put the nail in the coffin for me.
Are we about to play people online?
Yeah. I think
when we played FIFA?
You have to do a friendly instead of a friendly match. Yeah,
but we can all be on a team on the same console? I think we couldn't.
I think it can only be 2 people.
We can do 2 and somebody
can.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought it had to be 1.
I think it's 2.
Someone can regulate the comments.
Yeah, if it is 1, we'll make it work. Like whatever. We got
hungry.
Yeah, we got to eat and we got to whatever. But okay, my gamer tag is Packy4, the number 4, real. Packy4 real. Because somebody took Packy Raps.
Spell real.
REAL.
Whoever jumps
Real
on those
Madrid.
is like really on their grind.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
This dude's Twitter handles Packy Raps. What doesn't he have this handle in?
But we've never, like, I literally, I copped my PS4 just recently, tried to play a bunch of games online at the crib to figure it out, and my internet connection was terrible. So I don't know if everyone can see the record, but it's awful, but it's about to go up now.
The excuses.
He's got to disclaim
That's
this.
the story. Because I know we're going to get a lot of messages like, damn, this is shitty. Internet kept going out. But here we got the light speed.
And don't think we're not going to be talking shit to you fools on there, because I saw a whole bunch of people talking shit already. If I had FIFA, if you don't even own the FIFA game, you're not doing shit to it.
Do you? You don't have a mic, do you?
I do at home.
Or no, we have
a mic.
Yeah, we have a mic. But
You think Moe-T doesn't have a mic?
We got it all figured out. You remember? We spent like 45 minutes.
No, I know, I remember.
this.
But I thought we concluded that we can't go live and talk. And like there was some aspect of it that we couldn't do.
Yeah, for like the first 30 minutes.
Wrong. We figured it out.
15 happened.
Okay, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this when we do it, and there's gonna be something. Even though Moe-T is trying to make me feel like a fucking idiot. We can talk.
He is.
Okay, word. All right, we will. I feel like I'm missing something, but maybe not. Did I get everything?
Kuchar.
Gear.
Oh, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
We got new spec gear in the shop.
It's fire. It's fire.
Moe-T, grab the jacket.
Grab that jacket, dog.
Where is it?
It's right on the door.
Hanging on the dog.
We got a new bomber jacket, kind of like windbreaker material. It's a bomber jacket. That's what they call it, but it's really light.
Extra light.
Q, you want to show that off for the
I
people?
suppose so.
Put it on. Put it on. Does it fit?
Y'all can't fit in this shit.
You could probably put it on, Dax.
Hell no. Damn, I'm baked.
But yeah, that's this is our new pre-order item.
Allegedly.
For anybody that's like, oh man, $75, whatever. We do have to pay money to have them made. But yeah, it's probably my favorite item we've had in the
Show
shop.
that shield.
So hit that pre-order. We got to get 50 of them in order to get them ordered. Apollo also has his first run of gear. He's got a hat and a t-shirt. We got stickers in there, but there's some new shit. So go check that out. Cop that. And it's been real. Another episode in the books. We'll see you guys on the sticks.